my predictions video, but I got a special surprise for everybody. For the first time in almost a calendar year, I have a guest. And my guest is none other than NCW owner, not president, but owner, JC MARXXX. JC, how you doing?
Hey, Davis, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. I want to add that we're doing this via Skype, not because of COVID, but because I'm about a 13-hour drive away.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you, really stepping up to the plate, even being so many countless miles away. You've still stepped up here on the NCW.com, bringing your right recaps of our behind closed doors episodes. And also with what we're doing for this weekend for the iPPV for NCW Shoots and Ladders, we're going to give a little bit of a pre-show here, a little hype about what's going down at Shoots and Ladders, and I can't thank you enough for doing this with me.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for, this is your brainchild, so let's see how it goes. We'll jump right into the card. First up is Foxy Calvin Campbell taking on Armani Chaos. Now, I personally don't have a lot of experience with Chaos. He's new to me, and I actually never met him in person, but the man has got some skills in the ring.
Armani Chaos is one of the treasures of the 2021 virtual season. His attitude may be a little rough. He's a little bit of a diva, but there's no denying, even from the first moment that Armani Chaos and Paris Van Dale made their very first appearance at last year's Ballroom Blitz, where the Scrunchy Squad first formed, we only got a little bit of a taste of what Armani Chaos could do. Since this season has debuted, we've seen Armani Chaos defeat the likes of Big Juicy, another newcomer, and we've even seen him get a pinfall victory over the Lumberjake. Of course, there was a pair of brass knuckles involved in that, but let's not change the fact that Armani Chaos also nearly advanced into the women's championship tournament.
Still trying to figure out how that works.
Well, I mean, as of that airing, Armani Chaos was the chaotic women's champion. He had already won championship on behalf of Paris Van Dale. They have redubbed that title the Higher Society Championship since. But there's no denying that Armani Chaos, the Higher Society Scrunchy Squad, they kind of do whatever the hell they want to do.
And they seem to get away with it because of, there's power in numbers. But his opponent is Foxy Calvin Campbell, former two-time Ox Baker Memorial Cup winner. I think I'm picking Foxy with this one just because of the experience. And, he's got an X factor out there in Doc Ozone who's not afraid to get involved.
Well, we've seen countless times that Doc Ozone is not afraid to get involved, whether he should or should not. But, what it comes down to is the weird dichotomy between Foxy Calvin Campbell and Armani Chaos. When Foxy Calvin Campbell debuted in NCW, he was the personal stylist to all good Anthony Green. He was brash, he was over the top, and it ended up being that rivalry with Osiris, which kind of saw Osiris and Doc Ozone kind of take Foxy Calvin Campbell under their wing and really kind of help Foxy step up to the plate and grow as a man here in NCW. Obviously, we saw that relationship between Osiris and Foxy deteriorate, and really nobody's even seen Osiris since he's gone off the grid during the pandemic. No one's heard from him, not even Doc Ozone. But that hasn't changed the fact that Foxy's a better man now because of that relationship. And it took a beating to get there. So maybe it's going to take a beating at Shoots and Ladders to teach Armani Chaos a few things.
You're absolutely right. It's a big possibility that Armani Chaos can pull off that upset. I would deem it an upset in my eyes, but yeah, I think I'm picking Foxy in that one. Who you got?
Well, I don't really want to bet against the Scrunchy Squad right now or Armani Chaos. The only downside is that on these recent behind closed doors, we've seen that Armani has been without Paris Van Dale. She was sent out on a European vacation, her own personal Euro trip. And because of that, Armani, he has the support of Becca, and he has the support of this proxy Van Dale. Having Paris by his side, I'm going to go with Foxy as well.
We've been waiting for this match to happen for about 5 weeks now on Behind Closed Doors. And because of Tim Kilgore and his need for the Fiji water, we haven't seen it, but I'm hoping we're going to see it at Shoots and Ladders. Tim Kilgore against Billy Winker.
Yeah, so, the truth of it is that I've known Tim Kilgore now for almost 22 years. So I've always known Tim Kilgore to be a bit of a diva in his own right. But the delusions in general that Tim Kilgore has adopted during coronavirus, during his transition into becoming the badass of Broadway, a man who believes himself to be some theater star. I've known Tim for 22 years. I've never seen him in one off Broadway production. So when he showed up to the most recent Behind Closed Doors demanding a private locker room, a private bathroom, Fiji water, these are ridiculous demands. And Billy Winker, a newcomer who has only really gotten one big match under his belt in NCW, he's ready to go, and he wanted to take on a man that's a former New England champion, a former heavyweight champion, and Kilgore's too concerned about his aqua. Are you kidding me?
And we left it last with management coming in and seeing something that I don't think he wanted to see. Hopefully we'll get some resolution to that particular aspect of this whole story.
You should always knock before you enter a bathroom, but my question really surrounds why the cameraman had the camera on while going to the bathroom. That's my only issue, and I hope he washed his hands. I hope it was sanitized. I do not know for sure, but I do know that management is fed up. I'm fed up. Dean the Beast Livesley, who's been Skyping in with us every week to kind of go over things, he's fed up. Tim Kilgore needs to step up to the plate and get in the ring with Billy Winker, this Sunday at Shoots and Ladders.
What I find fascinating about this card is that obviously we have the Women's Championship Tournament. Huge moment for NCW, crowning the first ever NCW Women's Champion. But you've also got another women's match on the card. So your women's division has really flourished in this pandemic, which is crazy to say considering the times that we've gone through.
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head, and I do speak about this a little bit more in detail at Shoots and Ladders because Derek Simonetti, he put me right in the hot seat. But when you were here in NCW last season, we were seeing the women's division developing, the 2019 season, I'm sorry, but we saw that women's roster kind of develop and start to grow, but we still exploded during the pandemic. And as the NCW 2021 season began, we went from having maybe 3 or 4 women on the roster to having a dozen very different women with incredible personalities, incredible skills, and that was one of the reasons why Dean the Beast Livesley, myself, the NCW officials, all agreed now was the right time to bring a women's championship to NCW.
I, for one, am a huge fan of Big Juicy. I think she's an amazing talent. She's got the charisma. She's got the talent in the ring. I think that she is going to be a big star in NCW.
She kind of already has. She's already kind of taken NCW by storm. And one of the great things about these tapings is that we've seen a lot of these NCW wrestlers, whether the newcomers or the older roster, really step up to the plate and shine during these tough times and these private behind closed doors tapings. And I'm super excited to when we can get back to shows with fans and to see the reactions that our fans have for these new NCW wrestlers.
Absolutely. And she's taken on Little Mean Kathleen, another member of the Scrunchy Squad. As you said, they are powerful in numbers, and
Well, let me ask you this, Davis, because I know you've been doing your recaps, and I know you just watched the last episode of Behind Closed Doors.
Yes.
That relationship with the Scrunchy Squad and Little Mean Kathleen and Becca is a little volatile right now.
Yeah, it's a little strained, but I think that everything will come out in the wash. I think that Little Mean Kathleen will, I don't want to say fall in line. I don't think there's a real leader of the Scrunchy Squad, but...
Well, if you ask Becca, she's the leader of the Scrunchy Squad.
Okay.
If you ask LMK, she's the leader of the Scrunchy Squad. If you ask Paris Van Dale and Armani Chaos, guess who's going to be the leader of the Scrunchy Squad? So I'm just saying, they may all be in it together, but they're all in it for themselves. And we saw that firsthand with the coin flip in that quarterfinal round match. So LMK's got a little bit of anger in her, a little bit of a mean edge, if you will, going into Shoots and Ladders. And that's why I'm going to give LMK the edge over Big Juicy in this singles contest.
Well, I have to tend to agree with you. You bring up some good points about, kind of, for lack of a better term, getting screwed in that tournament. I mean,
she did. She got screwed.
Yeah, she was watching the coin flip, and all of a sudden her shoulders are on the mat, and it's over.
Do you know the worst part about that? And if you saw that on the broadcast, Becca won the coin toss. So she would have won if they just followed the damn rules that she set up. So, I mean, it goes to show you, and we'll talk more about that women's tournament. We can get into that.
Of course. Let's move on to the 6-man tag team match. You don't see a whole lot of these nowadays, and I'm very excited to see this one. The Little Giants teaming up with Love Doug, who is another amazing find for NCW. This guy is really stealing the show whenever he's on Behind Closed Doors. And they will be taking on the trio of Brett Ryan Gosselin, Chaz Cashew, almost said Charlie, but Chaz Cashew and Ricky Smokes. These three have certainly wreaked havoc in the past few weeks on Behind Closed Doors.
Well, I mean, so I'm gonna start from where you started. I love Doug, and Love Doug has been an amazing addition to the NCW roster. We are thrilled that he is here in NCW, spreading love wherever he goes. And he's got his little two cupids there, Robbie the Giant and Bullet Joe Barretto. The Little Giants, former 2-time NCW tag team champions. And, they're going up against the big boys. The victorious Brett Ryan Gosselin, a 3-time former NCW heavyweight champion, with his new Timmy Thunders, Chaz Cashew and Ricky Smokes. Now, you laugh about it, but the thing is that when Todd Harris, BRG, won that NCW heavyweight title back in 2018, and he defeated, the Lumberjake after using Rui Botello. He used his Ox Baker Memorial Cup, and he cashed it in, and he won that title. He ditched Rui Botello, and he latched on to Timmy Thunder, who would become Channing Thomas, and he created this circle between Sierra, Channing Thomas, and BRG to create this trinity that protected him and protected his title. Now, we've seen, especially over the course of this season, how far Channing Thomas has come, and we've seen him evolve, and Brett Ryan Gosselin was doing anything in his power to keep his thumb over Channing Thomas, including setting off the fire alarms.
Unbelievable that he was behind that.
So, no longer able to control Channing Thomas, BRG goes out to the Timmy Thunder factory and gets 2 new ones to kind of to help him do the same shit he was doing years ago. Pardon my language. But, I mean, come on. I mean, Ricky Smokes, the former Ricky Archer, tremendous athlete.
Absolutely.
And Chaz Cashew, allegedly 7 feet, 300 pounds, looks suspiciously like Wacky Charlie Cashew, becoming what Channing Thomas was for BRG.
Yeah, and I can totally see that comparison. I mean, we'll get into Channing Thomas later when we come to the main event, but you're absolutely right. He's blown past BRG at the speed of light. But
I mean,
yeah,
and that's not to take away BRG. BRG is a dominant. He was a dominant champion,
of course,
and he was he defeated Anthony Green to win that third heavyweight title.
That's
but
right.
you know who helped? You know who helped him beat Anthony Green for that title? Chaz Cashew.
Chaz Cashew.
That's right. And I'll tell you what, these big boys, Cashew and Smokes, they're fantastic. We've saw them at the virtual reunion. We've seen what they're capable of, and I wouldn't put anything past them. But these guys have an attitude problem, and I cannot wait to see them get their ass kicked by Love Doug and the Little Giants. We saw that the Little Giants came out and they helped neutralize the big boys in that beat the clock challenge on behind closed doors. We've seen, we've seen Bullet Joe deal with Chaz Cashew at the virtual reunion. So there's a lot of history just within the last couple of months.
Oh, it's going to tear the house down. I feel like it. By the way, don't let Bullet and Robbie hear you call them Cupids, because you won't last too long. But just with the talent that Love Doug has and the experience that Bullet and Robbie the Giant have, I got to go with them in this match. I think that the trio of BRG and the big boys are not going to be victorious here.
Well, we just don't know how on the same page the victorious BRG and the big boys are going to be. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Love Doug, who's already got a pinfall victory over Ricky Smokes from Reunion. He's already got BRG's number because he couldn't make it past the 7:07 time in that beat the clock challenge. Mm-hmm. And the Little Giants are just a cohesive multi-time champion unit. I'm going to go with Love Doug and the Little Giants on that one, absolutely.
Another tag team match. This one, a total elimination, because we can't say Survivor Series match.
It's all about branding, Davis, right? We have the Big City Rumble. We have the Ox Baker Memorial Cup, and we have our own total elimination. We don't need to call the Survivors. Get out of here.
All right. Total elimination.
There we go. All right.
Team Lumberjake versus Team Castro. I'll run down the teams here. For Lumberjake, It's obviously Lumberjake himself, Riot, Kellen Thomas, which those two have developed quite the tag team recently, Insane Dick Lane, and what I think could be the wild card in this match, Blaze Bazooko. She is the one in 2-1 for Kevin Castro, and I think she could play a big role here. They will be going up against Team Castro, which consists of Kevin Castro, who has to compete. Can't wait to see that. Davey Cash, his nephew, the heavy hitter Shay Cash, and it was announced this past week on Behind Closed Doors, the heavy hitters are reuniting. Frank Champion is the fourth man. That is huge.
Yeah, so I mean, Kevin Castro, from the day he debuted in NCW, which was at the Big City Rumble back in 2018, he has really just been a thorn in the side to Lumberjake. And we saw it especially in the 2019 season, that the escalation between Castro and the Lumberjake, which originally started with that match at the Bristol Bash back in March of 2019, where it was Shay versus Lumberjake, and if Lumberjake was victorious, he was getting 5 minutes in the ring with Kevin Castro. In some way, somehow, because of Chris Venom, Kevin Castro got a pinfall victory over Lumberjake, which is the craziest thing ever. And then we fast forward to WrestleFest, and we saw Kevin Castro versus Lumberjake. Kevin Castro, in a full body cast, gets wheeled out and convinces Lumberjake to set up a no disqualification match. Only guess what? It wasn't Kevin Castro under the full bodied cast. It was sensational Scott Levesque. Mm-hmm. Another one of Castro's recruits, one of the men that he was able to pay off, and his checks happened to clear. And so then, after Shay Cash, Davey Cash, and Scott Levesque beat the holy hell out of Lumberjake, Kevin Castro makes his way out and gets a second pinfall victory over Lumberjake.
If I remember correctly, he was also wearing Shay Cash's singlet.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And I did skip over a lot of history in that year and that season, but it should also be mentioned that the last time we saw Frank Champion was when he showed up at the Ring of Thrones tournament, where we were crowning a #1 contender for the heavyweight champion, 2 #1 contenders for the heavyweight championship, and Frank Champion showed up and took out Lumberjake in the semifinals to send Shea Cash and Mike Montero to the finals. So really, Frank Champion shows up at the worst possible times for the Lumberjake, and you got to wonder what that's going to mean for Shoots and Ladders in this total elimination match.
Mm-hmm. And, to go even further in depth on that, you can see where Kevin Castro got the money for the bounty that Frank Champion collected.
Steve the Turtle Weiner has been running the gambling ring.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because of that, he's not been doing it very well and was able to be manipulated by Kevin Castro, who we saw at the virtual reunion, tricked all of the gamblers into betting, against Lumberjake and Kellen Thomas. And that allowed Kevin Castro to kind of really pull all the odds into his favor. He bet everything on Lumberjake and Kellen. He won all the money and then turned on them anyway. They never trusted him. Of course, Lumberjake's never going to trust Kevin Castro finding Jesus and becoming a better man because of COVID. Come on. Like, no one was that stupid to believe that. And Jake or Kellen were not going to believe that either. But in the end, Castro was able to manipulate the situation, make Dick Lane a poor, destitute man who's had the worst year of his life, besides losing the New England title, getting divorced during COVID, Delilah Hayden filing for divorce, knocking up his side chick, losing all of his money. Like, this man's had a hard time. And then to have to go up to Kevin Castro, try to get his money back, forcing himself to call himself Mayor McCheese.
Which blew my mind.
And potentially making this deal in the devil. You call Blaze Bazooko the X Factor. I'm a little worried that Dick Lane might be the X Factor in this total elimination match. Dick Lane hasn't been a bad guy. I mean, he's the metahuman supervillain. He's the biggest villain NCW's ever seen, but he's a beloved hero here in NCW. Mm-hmm. If he crosses that line and it helps Castro in this total elimination match, I don't know if there's any going back for Dick Lane.
You're absolutely right. I mean, we saw it firsthand. He shook Castro's hand. He made a deal with the devil himself. And who knows what we're going to see at Shoots and Ladders in the total elimination match. Now let's move on to the women's title tournament.
Yes.
We've got the semifinals and the finals at Shoots and Ladders. First semifinal match will feature Becca, who got that questionable victory over LMK. She'll be taking on Davy Ann, which she is a legend in New England as far as women's wrestling is concerned. Certainly going to be a great match there.
Yeah, Davy Ann's history in NCW is actually very brief. She hasn't really had a lot of matches here at NCW, but she was a part of the in-ring debut of the Platinum Honeys when Angel Sinclair and Ava Everett made their NCW debut. They wrestled against Davy Ann and Delmy Exo. Davy Ann, as you mentioned, she has a pedigree in New England where she's one of the most prominent and highly decorated women's wrestlers ever to compete in New England. And the fact that she's now in the semifinals of this tournament, damn, that's great. That adds prestige to this tournament, and we're thrilled that she's here. And for as great as Becca has been, we've seen how dominant she's been on behind closed doors. And she's got the backing of the Scrunchy Squad. I think she pissed off LMK. Paris Van Dale is on her Euro trip. I got to go with Davy Ann getting right to the final. She's my pick.
Okay. I tend to agree with you. I think that Davy Ann, her experience is going to come through in this one, and I think it's going to be the end for the Scrunchy Squad here in this tournament.
Which is a shame.
Moving on, the second semifinal, the Suplex Sweetheart Isana, who is just a household name in NCW, and again, all over New England as well, taking on, now you're going to have to clarify this for me because you're the boss.
Don't listen. Yeah. Go ahead.
Which member of FAFO is she going to take on? Because
find that coin. Find that coin that Becca used in that quarterfinal match. Flip the coin and let me know what it lands on. Because I'll be honest with you, this is something where every single behind closed doors, we are asking you know, FAFO's on the contract. Which member of FAFO is competing? And
FAFO.
You know, they purposefully do not give us an answer, and their misdirections and their games like it's the 1998 Attitude Era. They do what they want. We saw it against the Middlesex Express on Behind Closed Doors. You know, FAFO, you know what it stands for. You find out, and I would love to tell you it's going to be Savannah Lords, who defeated Sarah Teller, competing against Isana. I would love to tell you it's going to be Angel Sinclair. I don't know. And that's why, because I don't have that answer for you, I got to go with FAFO moving past Isana. Shock, I know. Wow. Isana has been an amazing competitor here in NCW, one of the prominent members of the women's roster. But, like, without knowing who she's wrestling, I got to give it to FAFO, and they could flip that coin again going into the finals and be able to switch it up again against Davian.
Absolutely. I mean, you could have a fresh member of FAFO going into the finals because she didn't wrestle in the semis. You're absolutely right. However, I'm picking Isana. Okay. I cannot go against Isana. She is an amazing talent. So she is going on to the finals.
So you're calling Isana versus Davian in the finals?
Yes, and I think it's going to be a legendary match.
And who do you think wins that? Who becomes the first women's champion based off of your bracket?
You know, if it's any result like the first two Ballroom Blitzes, we may have co-champions. But I got a spit take out of you. Yep. But I am going to go with Isana. I think that she just has that grit, has that determination, and honestly, I think she deserves it. I think she deserves to be called the first ever NCW Women's Champion.
Well, you know, I've already made my prediction that FAFO is going to manipulate their way past Isana, and, you know, Davian is an incredible competitor, but, like, I just don't know what these ladies have up their sleeves if they actually owned any outfits with sleeves. So I got to go with FAFO. They're my pick. Somehow they're going to end up, you talk about a Ballroom Blitz situation, which member of FAFO, maybe both of them are going to be the first women's champion. That's my pick.
You mentioned the Middlesex Express.
Yes.
A little earlier. Definitely a discussion for another time, but it brings us to the tag team title match. Waves and Curls, the new champions, fresh off their appearance on AEW Dark. I believe they were on there twice, if I'm not mistaken.
They were on AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation. They've already made 2 appearances at AEW. We're talking about the tag team champions, Trayvon Jordan, Jalen Brandon, Waves and Curls.
Waves and Curls, yes. The NCW tag team champions, they'll be defending against, well, one of the former champions in Ricky Medeiros and his partner, Pimp Daddy Apple Cinnamon.
Yeah, the Detox Express here. You know, a little bit of we saw at the virtual reunion because Ricky Medeiros was working with an injured partner. Jason Devine's been out of action, and because of that, you know, officials allowed Ricky Medeiros to choose a tag team partner. You know, he gave that option to the Middlesex Express, and Stephen Lust dumped out Pimp Daddy Apple Cinnamon and took that spot. It didn't work out well for Medeiros. He lost the tag team titles at reunion. So now we saw in Behind Closed Doors after Pimp Daddy kind of manipulated things and left Patna out to dry against FAFO. Mm-hmm. Ricky Medeiros saw something in him, and he's he's giving Pimp Daddy Apple Cinnamon that opportunity at Shoots and Ladders to step up to the plate and, help him win back those tag team titles. Jason Devine's still not there. Ricky Medeiros, unfortunately, he's been up the creek without a paddle because Mike Montero's been dealing with his own things. The Dirt City Murder Crew not working at 100%. Ricky Medeiros just wants his belt back. And if he can use Pimp Daddy to get it, at the expense of Middlesex Express, he's willing to do it.
And I think it's going to be a great matchup, but I just don't see the cohesion between Medeiros and Pimp Daddy. And Waves and Curls has been on quite a roll since they've been in NCW.
You're exactly right. The cohesion between the Detox Express, I don't know if it's going to gel in time. They didn't get to have any practice matches on behind closed doors. I got to go with the champs. Trayvon and Jalen, they're going to keep dancing their way to victory. Waves and Curls, that's my pick.
Absolutely. Mine too. I'm not even going to argue with you. Let us move on now to the New England Championship match. The ace, Mike Montero, the newly crowned two-time New England champion, taking on very interesting number one contender in Ike.
Yep.
I got to admit, I was shocked when I saw Ike win that spot, but
I was on commentary. I was equally as shocked.
He's shown me something, especially against Cool Guy Pete a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Ike has been the Cinderella story of behind closed doors because it was that first qualifying match where he defeated NCW's only Triple Crown winner, Alexander Lee. Sure, Dallas McCarthy got his dumbass involved, but it doesn't change the fact that Ike got the pinfall. He got the 3 count. And, since that day, Ike's redemption story, after he had already broken away from Dallas McCarthy at the 2020 kickoff, we've seen Ike hasn't bitten one soul. Ike has been a wrestler, and we've seen him defeat Foxy Calvin Campbell and Robbie the Giant. Could we see him beat Mike Montero? We heard Mike Montero speak about Ike on Behind Closed Doors and how he's really just chalking this up to a training match of his own. He doesn't consider Ike a real challenger for the New England title.
Like, what you cannot. I wrote it in my recap. There are no softballs in NCW, Mr. Montero. I think you need to start taking Ike a little bit seriously. And I think that it's going to cost him. And I think Ike's walking away with the New England title.
How much would that piss off Mike Montero? He just spent a year fuming about being in a straitjacket and having the title stripped away from him. But then to cheat his way back to victory, because let's not mince words about that. He cheated against Dick Lane to regain that New England title. If he lost it because he overlooked Ike, that's poetic justice. I'd love to see that. I'm going with Ike.
All right. So that leads us to our main event of Shoots and Ladders, the first ladder match in how many years, JC?
The last ladder match was in 2015. It was 6 years ago, and amazingly enough, in Norwood, Massachusetts. It was Riot Kellen Thomas defending the NCW heavyweight title against Triplicious, Trigger the OG. It was the first time we had ever tried anything like that on NCW. It was a great match, but as we head into Bristol, the stage is set. That venue is perfect for a ladder match. To have that belt hanging high above the ring. We saw it on the last episode of Behind Closed Doors. Vern Vicalo, the reigning champion, climbing up that ladder, looking at that title, hanging above. Like, it's the perfect venue. It's the perfect setup. I cannot wait for Vern Vicalo to defend that title against the natural Channing Thomas.
It's going to be one hell of a match. I'm already predicting it's match of the year quality. I feel as though this is Channing's time. I think
deserves it.
He does deserve it, but I think he's going to ascend that ladder and he's going to pick that belt up and show it off at the top of the rungs.
It really makes me wonder, like, if Channing Thomas wins the heavyweight title against Vern Vicalo in this ladder match, the reign of Channing Thomas is going to be one that we may regret. Channing is a fantastic wrestler. He's the naturally gifted, naturally talented, but he's an ass. And, if he does the job, he picked this match stipulation, and if he climbs that ladder of success, if he takes that title belt from Vern Vicalo, we're never, ever going to hear the end of it.
One thing that I hope in this match is that it is a one-on-one match. I don't want to see anybody coming in and trying to cause a problem in this match. Let these two finally settle it. Let these two just have at each other, destroy each other, and may the best man win.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm doing my best with our locker room, with management, with officials to try to make sure that this match stays one-on-one between the number one contender and the heavyweight champion. I wish I could guarantee things, but I will never make a guarantee, especially when it comes to NCW, because, things happen, and I just want a match, because as you said, this could be a match of the year candidate. We haven't even seen a second of the action, and I can already see how good this match is going to be. And, my pick is still going to be Vern Vicalo, because Vern has had a very rough go. He mentioned it on Behind Closed Doors that as the heavyweight champion in the middle of a pandemic, he hasn't had an easy go of it, but he's damn good, and he's still proving himself every single show that he deserves to be champion. And I think this match is going to give him his moment.
Well, I hope that he does have a moment, and that moment will be under the ladder, looking up at Channing Thomas, picking up that title.
Wow. Okay, Davis Wright. Okay, Davis Wright. All right. Okay.
So there you have it, folks. That is the card for Shoots and Ladders. Coming up will be next on YouTube.
That's right. And you can still go ahead. You can still get virtual tickets for the iPay-per-view right at the ncw.com/ippv. And you can go ahead and click on those Eventbrite tickets. That's going to give you access to the entire stream right through YouTube. So you can check it out there, which means you can stream it right to your TV, watch it on your laptop, watch it on your home. You're going to have access to that video after the show is over with. So if you join in a little bit late, that's okay too. You can still catch up. You can go back. You can check it out. And then starting on Monday, we'll have it available to purchase right on the it's just NCWUnlimited.com, our streaming home through Pivot Share. So that way, if you missed it on Sunday night, that's okay. You'll be able to go back. You'll be able to buy it at NCWUnlimited.com, and you can check out this iPay-per-view is going to be amazing.
I cannot wait for it. You know what? Let's not let them wait any longer. Let's go to it. Coming up next, Shoots and Ladders, presented by NCW. The main event, a ladder match between the champion Vern Vicalo and the natural Channing Thomas, the number one contender. It's going to be a barn burner. I'm looking forward to it. I hope to see you there.